Go ahead.
I said it's not live just yet. All right,
Okay.
now you live. Look, see, you got the live and the thing. Hey y'all. Now you live.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. There we go.
We both said at the same time.
Do we?
Woo! Baby, he was like, "Oh wait, this Instagram on here, go live."
Listen. That thing was
Oh, I
delayed.
got a notification saying you live right now. Oh, you know what?
Mm,
I never have notifications on social media at all. And recently I've been doing that. So now I can see that. Hey y'all, hey family, we back. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Welcome. 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 Okay. This is about to be real ghetto, but that's okay because we human and we in real life.
Ooh.
I gotta go close the door to my room so I don't echo. So
Go ahead, you good.
continue to bring the people in. Go ahead.
It's good. Hey y'all, hey family, happy New Year. I know y'all miss seeing us. I know y'all did. I know y'all miss seeing us. Oh, Miss Reva said happy New Year. I am so excited. This is our first live. I feel like we've been gone for too long because the Christmas break is throwing off everything.
Everything.
Everything. But
Yeah.
we're
It
back.
was. It was. It was. It was one to remember, but child, I was tired. I
Not
was
I was
tired.
tired. So
It was
we are so excited to be back with y'all today
yeah.
and definitely missed you guys. And y'all please share the live. Those of you who are joining us, let us know. Have y'all listened to the latest episode? Because you know we're here to ditch the tea about the episode
It's been pretty fire.
and what we thought and what
Yeah.
y'all thought.
Yeah.
So y'all
Yeah.
gotta let us know if you didn't already listen to it, just say in the chat, just
Yeah.
put I did.
I did. I did.
I know y'all miss
Yeah.
my accent.
Listen,
I did.
makes the world move.
It makes the world move.
It does.
No, I'm so excited. And I got something really special coming. Make sure I tell y'all before I forget.
Okay.
So
You don't want to tell them now? Do you want to tell them at the end?
I don't know whenever you want to tell them.
I mean, it's your surprise. Go on and
You
bless
know
the
what?
people.
I'm gonna tell them at the end because of what the man got. Listen, the intimacy
Everything I
you
got.
giving versus the
Is that
intimacy you want to have.
oh
Oh,
is
look
that
at J
the
Dub.
thing?
B Dub say, "Hey y'all, how y'all doing?"
What's up, my
Hey
guy?
B Dub, he on IG.
Oh, what's up, bro?
Hey to us. So let's get into that conversation because I think the people are here for what they need, and we just need to
Yeah,
hand over. So
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
episode, um,
I feel like we got three of them because we haven't been live for like what 2 weeks. So it's like
oh yeah, we gotta catch the people up.
yeah. So you know we might have to do, Lauren.
I'm
We
gonna
might have to
follow.
record tomorrow. We might have to do the podcast tomorrow and just make this a 1 hour.
You know what?
If you got time. If not, I
I'm
can
just
make it work.
listen. My schedule is open.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's do
what the
tomorrow.
song said, Lord, I'm
Absolutely.
available to you.
Yeah, because it's a lot of content that we have to work through. We have to because did we talk about I don't even think we talked about the emotions one. I don't even think we
Child,
went into that one. We
emotions
didn't
make me cry sometimes.
and then not only just emotions, not emotions make me cry sometimes. And then we gotta talk about with how do you walk through being disappointed with God, right? So
Oh,
these last three episodes were like very there's a lot of volume to it. So I feel like this is how me and Lauren like make plans. So we gonna make plans with y'all. This is behind the scenes coming into the new year because there's just so much that we put
darling,
out.
I submit to whatever you say. Let's do it. Cause you're right. The people want to talk about that too. I was hoping you was gonna let me get away,
Nah, nah. We
but
gotta
here
give
we
them.
are caught
We
up.
gotta give them what they were made to be gifted with. You know what I'm saying? We
You're
ain't gonna
right.
withhold no gifts,
Well, come
man.
on then. Which one you want to talk about first?
Well, we got to start with the one we started with before they didn't get it, which was the emotional one. And
Mm.
yeah, I forgot what the title was of that. Which one was that one, Lauren? I forgot the title.
Oh,
Lauren
that's
be having these like really beautiful soliloquy titles, and
it's the
I'd
look
be
on my
like,
face.
"It is so good." What's up?
That's you see the look on my face.
Yeah, they're so good. You give such great titles.
Well,
I'm
thank
just,
you.
I'm foundational. I'll be like the love of God. You'd be
That's
like the love
there's
that holds you, but the love that can't keep you. I'll be like, oh, that sounds like a movie coming out. When that come
Is
out? Is that in
is
theater?
go ahead is stay in today,
Yeah,
Lauren.
that's
Okay,
beautiful.
so I'm gonna get a shirt that says stay in today, Lauren.
Mhm.
The emotional walls you won't admit you have. That's what it was.
The emotional walls you
You
what?
won't admit you have.
You won't admit you have. Okay, let's
Mhm.
dive into that one. Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about it. IG, y'all feel free to jump in. We looking. I'm prepared.
Yeah,
So
I
what
think
are
you
the
can
emotional
share.
walls, Jer?
What are my emotional walls is what you're asking?
I mean, I'm trying to see how far we jumping in the water.
I mean, I don't really have emotional walls,
Mm,
to be quite honest with you. I think like every human being, there's seasons and moments where you're like, you just have to like hold on for dear life to get through.
mm,
Um, and I think it's natural for people to go into a survival mode emotionally, depending on what they're trying to endure or
yeah.
whatever feels too heavy, or if there's pressure or stress.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's really no emotional thing that I'm not willing to look into, to reflect on, to talk to God about, to talk to another person about, because my emotions don't scare me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I'm not depending on my emotions to tell me the truth anyways. I'm just trying to process what my emotions are sensing, what
Yeah.
they're discerning, what they're observing, and what they have taken context and content of, right? So really, I'm just investigating them and really not trying to define anything from them. And so,
Mm.
so for me, I wouldn't say that I have any emotional walls. I have emotional boundaries. Absolutely. Oof. It's
I think before we
yeah.
move that, I think you should define it though. Like
Uh,
how do you define emotional walls versus boundaries?
oh, that's a great one. Um, an emotional wall is a space that is a space that I'm withholding, neglecting, or rejecting,
Mm-hmm.
or preserving.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, let me give you an example. I would say that if there was something emotionally that somebody was experiencing and they didn't want someone to walk through it with them, or
Mm-hmm.
they themselves did not want to navigate it themselves or let
Mm-hmm.
anybody touch it, I would say that that would be a wall. A boundary is a place that we set where it is for the sole purpose of making sure that both parties involved are not trying to access a place with the wrong intent or with the wrong result to be had for it. So, for instance, like if somebody was trying to push me into a codependent state based on how they were communicating their emotions, I would say, I appreciate you sharing that. That's a very
Mm-hmm.
valid experience you're having. But unfortunately, I can't meet you where you are because I don't think it's my responsibility to carry that.
Mm.
That's an emotional boundary. That's not saying that I'm not aware of what you said. It doesn't mean that I'm not denying what you said. That doesn't mean that I'm not acknowledging what you said. And but that doesn't necessarily mean that just because you put that on me, I have to actually wear it or carry it or clothe myself in it. And so those are the differences between walls. It's like a wall, I won't even discuss it. I'm not willing to communicate it. I shut down about it. I'm not willing to have vulnerable conversation about it. I'm not willing to go in and reassess and say, maybe I actually this is doesn't need to be a boundary, or maybe this is an area that I'm afraid of touching. So any space where we're not willing to reassess or to process or to navigate, I would say is a wall.
Mm.
What would you say your definitions are for a boundary or wall?
My heart heard you say, and this is my definition, Drew.
Yeah.
A wall is unwilling. A boundary is a door.
It's good. That's good.
So
You're
when I
talking
have the
good.
wall, you can't walk through the wall. It's unwilling. I can't
Yeah.
come out. You can't come in. It's unwilling. When I
Mm,
have a boundary, now I have a choice. There's an
mhm,
opening that can
mhm,
happen, but I'm
mhm,
choosing that opening based on not
mhm,
just you, but honestly
mhm,
based on me.
mhm,
Because
mhm,
really and truly, we have the conversation with ourselves first
mhm,
about the decision we're going to make on
mhm.
if this person can come in, right?
Yeah.
So that happens with me and God,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm,
Pretty much. That's who. And some of us it just happened with us, not
Mhm.
God. Because
Mhm.
that's another conversation. But
Mhm.
and so sometimes that's why we put walls where we should have doors. Or we
Mhm.
put doors where we should have windows.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
knowing that difference of like,
Mhm.
okay, how am I feeling in this? How am I showing
Mhm.
up?
Mhm.
What's coming up for me when someone asks me about my childhood, my marriage, the
Mhm.
demise of it, my life now? What am I doing? Like, how do I feel in those moments? Do I feel settled? Do I feel safe? Do I feel seen? Do I feel like no matter what their reaction is, I'm so okay with my own story that I don't need it? Like, meaning
Mm.
like I'm not holding on to it. So I
Mhm.
can be free to let you do what you're gonna do.
Mhm. Yeah, it's powerful. There it is. You simplified what I said. That's beautiful. I could not agree more. Oh, that's so good. And when we oh, that's so great that you asked that question, Lauren. That was really great. And I think like what we also touched on in that episode is how I think in the world and even like in the church, I think we're like trying to figure out how to be human, which is a wonderful discovery. The question that I think is so interesting is we don't ask the person who made human to ask us how to navigate emotion because he made them, which is God, right? And
Mhm.
so I think what we've done and what we're doing, we've spent so long being non-human or
Yeah.
inhuman that now that we're trying to practice being human, I think that we've created extremities around the human experience. So we have made the emotions the heart and the heart the emotions. So whatever we feel, we think it's the heart, but they're
Mhm.
not the same. And I remember saying in the podcast that the we've made our emotional capacity and our emotional experiences our throne room instead of our transportation system. And so it's like whatever we experience, there thus is the truth of all things that we know. Instead of being a place that carries the information that we're experiencing emotionally to the heart
Mhm.
to see how what we believe exposes and filters to translate what is true and what is not, right? And I think because we don't have that human design in us that we're aware
Mhm.
of, but that's how God intended us to do. There's even a scripture where it says, "For Jesus takes every thought captive."
Mhm.
Right? So we know that there is a process of God being in us where He's the one filtering through what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're believing, and all of our experiences so He can tell us what is true, right? And to
Yeah.
help us be able to process us and be able to properly filtrate those experiences. So I think we'll always have walls built when we're not going to God to be the general contractor of who we are as a person. When we allow in ourselves to be our own architect, we'll have a building full with walls instead of doors, right? As you said.
Mm.
But when we trust God to be the architect, to actually be the maker of what we are, the Bible says in Isaiah, He says, "What can what does it says? It says, what can the clay say to the potter?" Right? Like, how can the created thing give an opinion to the creator about what it is and how to tell the creator what to do with the thing that it made? Well, that's us. We're like in relationship as the potter, and we are glorifying self. We are idolizing self. We think that self-actualization is the glorification of self, and
Mhm.
we have exalted ourselves in such a way that it's not godly, it's actually demonic because we're making ourselves to be something we cannot be as a creation,
Yeah.
right? And so the best way to allow our walls to be torn down is to see our life in God's life. And Lauren, when I see my life in God's life, I realize if I'm in God's life and God has no death in it, God has no sin in it, and anything that can try to harm God can't harm him because it can't take his life and it can't take his joy, it can't take his peace, it can't take his love because God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and nothing can unconvince him of that. He only knows what he knows about himself, which is why he's the only trustworthy person to love us, right? Because he doesn't change in this perfect nature that he's in. Well, if I'm in that life, if I've inherited God and God has inherited me, and I look at his life that even when he puts flesh on and as the son. And I realized that sin and death still couldn't overcome him. Even when he puts on my bag of bones, I realized that that's the life that I want to live from. So now that I'm in relationship with you, with anybody in my life, now I don't have to have walls up, because I realize God already has touched the unseen things, and he's told me what his judgment is. God has already touched all the things that I'm afraid of somebody else seeing, or afraid of somebody else acknowledging, or afraid of somebody else rubbing up against, or afraid of what somebody else will think, or afraid of being harmed, right? And me and you talk about this all the time, but we really have this fear of the sting of death, which is the fear of harm. And the only way that that prick can come out, like Paul talked about, is to come under the submission of the life of God. And that frees us to walk with people with liberation, with curiosity, with openness, with vulnerability, without the fear of rejection, without the fear of abandonment. You don't have to use your childhood as the compass of how you respond to people, but I use my life with God as the compass that responds to people. That's a bar right there. And so what happens is, when we're no longer living from what happened to us from an earthly standpoint, but God happening to us from a spiritual standpoint, then we'll be able to walk through all of the nuances of relationship. And we'll do what you say. We'll always have doors that we get to choose to walk through, instead of walls that we're constantly running into.
Oh, that's good. That's a bar. That's a bar. So some of the things you said, and if y'all ever see me, I be taking notes, y'all, because my brain be braining.
My brain be braining.
So this is my thought, and y'all drop y'all thoughts in there too, because I want to hear them. It's not just this, but I want to hear y'all's thoughts on this, because this is really good. So what I wrote down was, hurt makes you hard, healing makes you human.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, we talked about these walls and these boundaries, but we also do need to give space to say, I wasn't born, like, I got to this point, but there was a point that I may not have been that person. I'll speak for me. I was not the person who always had emotional boundaries. I had emotional walls. Healing taught me emotional boundaries. Hurt taught me emotional walls.
That's powerful, Lauren. Go there.
Because the hurt tells you what I'm unwilling to deal with.
Yeah.
The hurt tells you what I'm unwilling to go through. And sometimes the issues that we have, the fear that we have, honestly, a lot of times it's not about the other people, it's within. Because what happens when your fear is the reason you ain't made a move is because you're afraid that you're gonna mess it up. That's one of them walls. Because when can you let you go?
Yeah.
You with you. So what happened when you hurt you?
What happens when that's enough. Listen, if you want to go there, remember that we got an hour. So if you want to go there, I don't care where we go. Just I like to give a precursor.
I'm just saying
the relationship with self.
It's relationship with self. And so oftentimes the things that you can't project on other people what wasn't already in you. That's the whole thing of a projector. The projector, you put it on the white wall and it projects what's already flowing through it. And it's the same thing with us. Whatever is flowing through you is what you're going to project.
You know what you're saying right now?
People to walk through that.
Out of the abundance of the heart, the
mouth speaks.
You're talking the word now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep going. You're on fire. That's big. That's good.
It's really important that we really take our own inventory, especially this season, right? We're in a new year, we're in a new month. And this time of the year is normally time when people are really reflecting about their lives and reflecting about their journey and reflecting about last year and looking at, like, how did I spend my time? How was I in these relationships? How was I showing up? And so when you reflect about that, you also have to be able to reflect about, how did I treat me? What hurt did I project on other people? Because again, hurt makes you hard. That's why when people are like, it's hard to love you because you're so hurt. So when people are struggling to love you, they're telling you you're hurting so badly. It's hard. You're hard. You can't feel it. Nothing can get in. Nothing can come out. So what they're telling you is you're behind the wall. You're telling people, oh, there's a door right there. No, there's not. Not in the upside down. I mean,
not in the upside down. Not the stranger thing. I love it.
You
Yeah.
know, so like so when we're thinking about doing life with people and walking in oneness and what that looks like, you do have to get to that point where you are emotionally mature enough to say sometimes I hurt me
Mm,
and it ain't
mm.
true.
You're going to a place, man. Let's go there. Um, the evidence of us having self-harm, it is the expression of us feeling unworthy for the love God has for us.
Baby, you better talk that talk. Come on home. I can hold it.
Listen, I kid you not, man. So many people really believe that they're loved. You ready for this?
Mm,
When you really come into the persuasion
yeah.
of the love of God that Paul describes,
Mm-hmm.
immeasurable,
Mm-hmm.
no height, no width,
Yeah.
no depth. And the fullness of God is seen through how much God loves you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to reveal something God shared with me 2 days ago. He said, Jared, I'm so obsessed with being one with you that I just had to wear you. That's why I put on human skin.
Mm.
God was like, I've always wanted to clothe you with myself, but I've always wanted to be clothed by you in return. And God loves wearing us in such deep intimacy that even when he resurrected, he kept the skin on. Do you understand the depth of someone desiring you that they say, I want to wear you?
Hmm.
God clothed himself in humanity because of the depth of intimacy that everything you felt, everything you were experiencing in a body that was dying, he's like, I want to feel it too. Now, why am I revealing that? As God is saying that to me, I can do one or two things. I can let that love pour itself out on me,
Mm-hmm.
and I can let myself drown in it, knowing that it's only going to give me life. It's not going to take away my life.
Yeah.
I can let it define me. I can let it, I can let it reshape me. I can let it mold me. I can let it fashion me by this love, which is what it's made to do, so that I am only the Jeremy that his love has molded me to be from that experience. And
Mm-hmm.
that's Jeremy. Jeremy is defined by the love of God, not me loving God, but God loving me. Or I can reject it because I feel like I'm not worthy, and that means I have to earn it. So I'll start trying to do behavioral things to prove it. Listen, I know the world has taught us, and I know the world is crying out, what does it mean to be human? And that's a beautiful cry. I would start getting really curious between the difference about the world's wisdom about self love and God's wisdom about self love. Because God's wisdom about self love is you doing a bunch of things for you and you fixating on yourself. Because we don't see it in Jesus. And Jesus had the utmost love for himself that he even declared and knew who he was. But the care for Jesus's life is not him getting away from people so that he can do all these things to refresh himself. Whenever he got away, he went back to the person whose responsibility it was to care for his life, that he didn't need to care for himself.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying to you is, I'm not saying you can't take the girls' trips. I'm not saying you can't go have guide time. I'm not saying you can't have a breath of fresh air. I'm not saying that you can't take a break from, I'm not saying don't breathe, don't rest, don't reset. But what I'm saying is, if your life has made you about you because you've been carrying things for too long, and your extremity is, I can only love myself before I love somebody else, I want to let you know that's not what God believes.
Mhm.
The Bible says, love your neighbor as.
As yourself.
It's linear.
Mhm.
But people say you got to love yourself first before you love somebody else. That's not linear. And that's not what the love of God says. So,
Mhm.
Lauren, because I know that my life is loved, because I know my life is lavished upon, because I know God is the one caring for me, He's caring for my body, He's caring for my life, He's caring for all of my needs, He's caring for all of my emotions, He's caring for all of my wants. He's the caregiver of me. He's the life giver. Then guess what I don't look to, Lauren? I don't look to try to lift myself up in my own care. And I don't have to idolize myself to care for me because I already see God doing it.
I want to say something right there because you said something really powerful about people saying you got to love yourself first. You got to love yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
I would challenge and say you have to believe in love first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you don't believe it, then loving yourself, it don't matter you can love yourself third. I mean, like,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't really think it matters. I think it really matters more around you believing in love first.
Yeah.
Like believing in Him, believing in love, right? And because once you have that belief in love, then you can move, then your behaviors can reflect your belief. But your behaviors can't reflect a belief that you don't have.
Lauren,
that's just what
can you go back and say what you said? Go back and say that all over again. You cannot behave based on what a belief you don't. Girl, say
a belief you don't have. So it's the ones like, well, why are you behaving? It's because of what they believe. If you believe that someone can hurt you, then you're going to behave like they can. If you believe that you are loved, then it's going to be no problem for you to love other people. It all goes back to the belief. Because that's the first place the enemy tries to sell us. If he's where he's trying to negotiate, the first negotiation that you have happens in your mind. Yeah. And it happens with your belief. If you believe that this new dress is going to make you feel blah, 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 then you're going to buy it. That's a behavior. If you believe that this man going to make you happy, he going to pay all the bills, he going to lay up, then guess what? You going to buy it. You're going to sign up. You're going to do it. You're going to commit to it, right? So it all goes back to when we're looking at people and we're trying to understand them and we're talking about this human experience. Here we go. When do we question and become curious about? So what is it that you believe then?
Yeah, that's the question.
Instead of smacking them on the head because of their behavior that you're trying to judge as good or not, and you're trying to find evidence, and like you, the FBI child. How about we just go back to the belief?
Yeah.
Because if you go back to the belief, that's how you get to the heart of man.
Yeah.
And that's how you start seeing people the way God sees them, because He sees the heart of man.
Yeah.
So if you start kind of backing into that question where it's like, oh, wait, because if anything, the behavior is just a symptom, but it's not the illness. It's not the illness. And oftentimes we'll try to solve for the symptom, but the illness is still there. You stop coughing, but you still got COVID. It's still there. You're still testing positive. So when we're really walking and talking about this human experience, you can only get more human by the more you just want to be healed of your belief, of your vision, of what you think. Because again, if you want to be able to have boundaries and have a door that opens opportunities, you got to come from behind the wall of your pain.
Yeah. And
most of us have not come behind the wall of our pain. And so because we're in this performance society, if he ain't hitting the dash behind me, beating on a wall, like if a man ain't trying to climb the wall of China, he don't love me.
Love doesn't chase.
No, it doesn't. But unfortunately, and this is what my prayer is, that our conversations and this platform and the brand, like what it teaches you is that it doesn't, that it helps to rephrase that whole lie of us trying to compete against people when they're not even in a race with you. But you would have known that had you found out what their belief was.
Mm-hmm. It's good, Lauren. If you ever want to, if when you can see people, Bible says, where we see the appearance, God sees the heart. When we are heart seers, then we don't need walls.
No.
Because guess what we start seeing when we see people? Not how they can hurt us, but we start learning what actually has hurt them. And then we stop categorizing people for where they belong in our life, and we just see another human being hurt. You know what we're like in this modern era when it comes to how we see people? We're like the guy who was left for dead on the road in the scriptures. And the Jew walked past him, and the priest walks past him, and the Sadducees walked past him, and all these groups of people walked past him. And all they did was look at this person who was wounded, and something had happened to them. And instead of connecting with his humanity, and instead of serving him, what they did was they looked at where he was from to determine if they were qualified to serve him. That's us.
Mm-hmm.
We check box to see who's qualified to be met with compassion. We check box to see who's qualified to be met with understanding. We check box to make sure we qualify to see who needs care.
Mm-hmm.
But if because I can't get anything romantic for you, then your humanity has no value.
Mm.
And it's no different from the temptation that Satan offered Jesus. If you will surrender to me, and then I will give you. Well, that ain't how the love of God is. Can you imagine if God said to the disciples when he first saw them, and he asked them, who do you say I am?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't get it right, you can't go with me.
Yeah.
Well, the only person who got it right was Peter. And the only reason why he knew Peter said it is because he said God told him. So even when Peter believing, Peter didn't even believe from his ability to check box with Jesus. But that's how we determine, and that's how we know we have walls up. I'm not saying you can't have values. I'm not saying you can't have great belief systems. I'm not saying you don't have mindsets. But when we choose a person and we operate in any form of relationship, we have to choose the humanity of the person and not just the qualifications and qualities, because a person is more than just their qualities. And this is why we hold those walls up that we think people should climb, because we think we're the only person that has the ability not to hurt somebody. And we don't know who we're capable of hurting, because the person that's on the other side of the wall isn't you.
Don't go past that, because let's stop right there. Don't go past that. So you said something really powerful, and you were talking about like these boxes that we're checking. But what if we decided we saw what that person had and we checked with ourselves and said, but can I serve with that? Can I support you in that area? What is my capacity for that area? Am I the best person to help walk you with that area? Versus, well, I don't know if you come up here with all that. Right. Versus that energy, because my peace is already protected by God, so I don't need to protect peace. So I really just need to decide, do I have capacity and emotional bandwidth and maturity to be able to adequately show my light, show love to that person, no matter where they're at, and be okay with that.
Let's go further with that statement, because you're starting a fire and you just put the wood down, but we haven't put the matches or gasoline. So let's set it on fire. I would dare ask anyone, if they are a believer, who doesn't have capacity to give someone God?
It's the one who don't have
it. This then is determining
correct
where we get our ability to tell the gospel. So like Lauren, if we're talking about relational practice, I am looking at my capacity. But if I see a woundedness has nothing to do with my capacity. That's God's.
Yeah.
Hey, God, how do you want me to respond to this person who I see is really in pain? So when we talk about dating circuits, we talk about family circuits, any circuits of relationship, And we have all these like phrases where there's pee in the dating pool, where we're in a generation now where it says that younger people are more exiled from their parents than ever before. Like we're the most isolated and loneliest generation is what they're computing, right? Well, why is that? Well, the reason why that is because we're looking at ourselves to determine what someone else is worthy of.
Yeah.
Which means I'm playing God. I don't get to determine how someone is worthy when everybody is, because God sees everyone as innocent, because everyone comes from the track record of something happened to them. And the something that happened to them happened when they didn't get a choice, because Adam and Eve was the one who made the decision. In Adam is where death was found. Well, guess what happened when Adam made that decision? It affected you, and it affected your parents, and it affected the people before them, all the way down. Ever since they started birthing children from them, man came, everyone was stung by death. And we're literally getting mad at people for being stung by something they didn't even get to choose from. So imagine exiling people and rejecting people. Do I have the capacity for someone who's been stung? And if my stinger has been removed because I have God, how dare I not have enough space in me with God to say, can I remove the stinger? Can I show you the one who can get it out of you? I may not be able the one to walk with your healing, but I can get you to the healer.
You got to say that last part again.
I may not be the one to walk with you in your healing, but I can get you to the healer. Can you imagine how much gospel could be preached in the dating pool or in family circuits if we would just see the stinger in people and say, I know who can pull it out? What would happen?
Yeah.
How much reconciliation would be occurring right now in our country? But we are so offended that we can't even see what's hurting people because we're afraid of being harmed. Well, that's offense. You cannot love people and say that you want love in your life when you're hiding behind a wall of offense. You cannot do it. And everyone's offended. Everyone's heart is cold because they're trying to defend themselves from the neighbor instead of loving the neighbor right where they are.
Yeah.
So
and
Lord,
being the light.
If we've agreed that we're doing friendship, then it is an ask of my capacity. I don't need friendship to bring you to the healer. I don't need friendship to tell you, to bring you to the one who knows how to teach you how to be human. I don't need friendship for that. That's where we keep discombobulating it, because once again, well, I get to determine my capacity. I thought you said that you weren't your own. I thought God bought you as a price. How do you keep going to you to determine what you get to give? Are you still the owner of you? Have you not died? And Jesus said, for those who preserve their life and keep their life shall lose it. So you couldn't love me correctly anyways, because you're trying to love me from your own self-preservation. And I wasn't made to be loved from self-preservation. I was made to be loved from a love that comes from resurrection. That's the love I know. I know an immortality-based love.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter when my humanity shows up. I know where love is found. And love ain't turning its back because my humanity showed up. Well, that's us. No, that's too heavy for me. Said who? You didn't even go ask God if he had the capacity. I may be burnt out. Yeah. But God, are you?
No.
When our weakness comes, we don't even ask God, do you have a strength? We just say, well, I'm weak, so I can't give it. Well, how can the world see the display of the power of God in us that as soon as we feel weakness, we don't go to see where the strength is found?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to go here. I just need to isolate. I just need to self-regulate. I got to regulate my nervous system. All this worldly stuff. And all the world is teaching us to do is to create more emotional walls, because as soon as you realize your body is off kilter, it gives you the right to escape where you should be staying.
Baby, you better say that again. Not give you a right to escape where you're supposed to be staying. I mean, that is one of them 9 fruits of the spirit.
As soon as you get anxious, I get to run. Yeah. As soon as my depression kicks in,
Yeah.
I get to run. As soon as my body, or I haven't ate, or I haven't had my macros, or I didn't work out, I get to. So now the body gets to govern love. And the body didn't create love.
Come on.
So once again, we keep finding other gods to determine what love should be to us, and it ain't the God who made it. We've made emotions the God to determine what I do. We've made how you feel, what you think, what your political stances are, what the world believes about the economy to determine what somebody gets rejected about. And none of those things have anything to do with love, and wonder why we can't experience it with one another. Crazy. And that's why we will always have walls, because we are looking to made things to determine what only an unmade thing can give us definition of, and that is God. I said we was gonna throw a fire and a flame on it. I just said,
My mama said, light the fire, Jared.
I'm gonna do it, Ma. I'm gonna do it, Ma. Okay. We can stay on emotions all day. So if y'all liked any of that, go jump back on that episode with the emotional walls. I think you really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite episodes we've done. And then we talked about
how to navigate disappointment with God.
Ooh, that was a good one. Bro, we've been putting out some heat. How do you navigate disappointment with God? Lord, I'm gonna let you respond to that first.
Oh, it first come with your honesty. You know, sometimes we be hurt and we be big mad. You ever been big mad with God? I done been big mad. I've been big mad before.
Attitude.
Oh, attitude. You don't want to talk. I don't want to come in that closet. I don't want to do nothing. And I think oftentimes that's a hard thing for people to process. Is that there are moments that you can choose to have a disappointment and it's with God. And guess what? He's okay with talking to you about your disappointment so we can get it straight. Because when you may believe that God is disappointing you, he may have just been saving you. You just didn't like the answer.
Say that.
But sometimes when you think he's disappointing you, he was really trying to save you and save you from the next thing that you're going to be mad about next. Because he knows what's up ahead. We live in day to day. Jared always laughs at me because he said I'm always casting vision, and I am. And then he'll be like, stay in today, Lord.
Stay in today, Lord.
Right. And so how often though do we not stay in today? And so because we're trying to be so forward, we're already trying to mitigate risk, because a lot of us have risk management as our ministry. And so we're so busy trying to mitigate risk that when disappointment hits, now we're trying to figure out who's the culprit. And what if sometimes there's no culprit?
What if there's no culprit?
Then what do you do? Because oftentimes when we're disappointed with people, we do what you just said, Jerry, we run. We don't want to be in community. We don't want to be in connection. We don't want to be in anything that makes us have to rub up against dealing with the thing we've been trying to avoid. And so we find other things and then we go and create situations for ourselves. And we like to be, I call it justifiably mad. Well, you feel like you're justified, right? So you're justifiably mad about things. And so we turn our, what's so beautiful about God though? We'll turn our back on him, but he won't move.
Yeah. He's like, so
right here.
So
like me. That's how we care. I know. I'm gonna say what I'm saying. I'll be here when you're done.
So if death couldn't change my mind about you, you think your attitude is? Boy, stop.
Please
What?
Please stop.
Listen, that disappointment. I remember this being said too. It's all coming back to me. The reason why we harbor disappointment with God is because when we are looking at our life, we are looking at it from our truth instead of his. We're looking at our life instead of looking at his life.
So we comparing the wrong thing.
We don't even know what a life is.
You know, it's so interesting. When you experience salvation and you come into a new creation, you realize that you don't know what a new life is. You're learning it as you go, right? Well, the sad thing about a lot of people is when they go through the new creations, they're still thinking from the old person.
Mhm.
And so we bring what we believe about a life and we're like, oh, all these earthly things, but because I couldn't get it to myself, because I struggled so much, or because I couldn't attain these things, now that I have God, God will attain all those things for me. And God will open up all those doors for me. And I'll write all these things on a list, and God will be my little genie. And then whenever I'm like going, like giving up food, or whenever I'm like not having sex, then I'm like, okay, God, lights on. Why aren't the lights coming on? You said if I submit myself to your righteousness, and then part 2, and then it says, and then all these things. Okay, I've done them. Right? And I'm going back to a statement that you posted online that I'm always going to reveal because it's one of the most powerful things about the human heart towards God. We do not trust God because we can't control him. It's still about control. That's why we're disappointed. And we've never even asked God, hey, God, can I ask you a question? Is the life that I see the life that you see? It's so interesting. The person that we actually have been rescued by from the things we couldn't save ourselves from, as soon as we think that we're doing good things, now we think we can go back to self-rescuing again. It's so interesting that the person who rescued us literally says this. It's one of the most quoted verses in the Bible. For I know the plans that I have. Well, you know why we're disappointed? Because we think because we've let stuff go or we're abstaining from things. Now it's like, no, God, you should know the plans that I have.
But you know the I.
And that's the part. And then like we're not in agreement with God, right?
No.
Like we have no agreement with him. And if it doesn't look the way that we think it should, because we're still looking at the world and then trying to like mix it in with something holy, then that's what I want. And God's like, I don't have mixture in me to give. I don't have mixed things in me to give. If you want a human being, I can give you one, but it's still going to be human. No, God, I don't want nothing that's human. I want it like the season I'm in, the season where I've been in the wilderness, where it's just been me and you. Well, the reason why you don't know what's in you is because you ain't had nothing trigger you yet. And you're just as human as the people you keep rejecting. But because you're hiding in me, you don't know what's still hurting you. So as soon as somebody comes up and shows their humanity, this can't be God. Why? Because they are what you are. You've been with God. Why do you think Adam was the first thing he did was throw Eve under the bus? Because he had never experienced any disappointment or failing God with another person. So the first thing he did was blame it on the person. Well, that's what we do. And you know what was found in Adam? In the curse, he realized that the same thing that was in her was in him.
But he blamed it on his present.
Of course.
Was she not the gift? Not you blaming the present. Not when you was happy, and now you blaming it. Now you not happy.
But the blame comes from the blame. See, this is what happens with death. What death does is it blinds us from seeing ourselves.
But that's what blame does.
That's exactly what it does. But the blame comes from the sting of death. Everything that you can imagine, Adam felt. The blame, the guilt, the resentment, the pointing at somebody else for somebody else's fault because, well, she shouldn't have had the conversation. But God's like, but you ate the fruit. Even if she ate the fruit, it was you who ate the fruit who caused death to enter all man because the seed's in you. It's not in her. So like all those things that Adam felt.
You, sir.
Exactly. But that was passed down in all of us, all of that condemnation, all of that guilt, all of that shame, all of that resentment. The reason why human beings experience it is because Adam did when death entered. So you have an inherited condemnation in you from when death entered somebody long ago who made a decision.
Yeah.
So I'm still walking in disappointment with God because I'm still seeing God from Adam's view instead of Jesus's. You know what happens when Adam looks at God? He sees lack in himself. And when God doesn't see what he doesn't see, then it creates disappointment. You know what happened when Jesus looks at the Father? He sees his life complete, and there can never be any room from disappointment because he knows the Father will never let anything happen to him because his life is in his hands. We're still looking at God from Adam instead of Jesus.
That's why we have disappointment. We're still looking at them from the flesh and the carnal mind instead of the spirit. That's why we have disappointment. We think love looks like an earthly thing. Well, if my daddy wouldn't have done this and my mommy wouldn't have done this and all these things wouldn't have happened to me. And God was like, I know, and it broke my heart. But guess what? Did it take your life? Because had it happened in an Old Testament where death reigned, it could have taken you out. But I made you born in a time where I overcame death, that even so it comes against you, it cannot take your life. God has kept a hold over you so death could not enter the sting that it caused. And we can't even see that. We're still mad that it happened instead of seeing what God did from what happened to us.
Yeah. So
And
let's,
that's
so
why we
before
have
before you go
disappointment.
too far, don't go too far. Don't go sit right
Go
there,
ahead,
right
go
there. Don't go
ahead,
far.
go
Don't go
ahead, go
far.
ahead, go ahead.
Let's go
Go ahead.
Matthew 7:1. Matthew
Let's go.
7:1 be wearing me thin. Okay, this is
Let's
what
go.
Jesus is teaching about judging others.
Mhm.
Is the New Living Translation. Shout out to my mama for the study Bible. Y'all DM
Come on.
asking y'all link
We
it,
love
y'all.
mama.
So it says, do not judge others, and you will not be judged.
Yep.
Let's go verse 2. For you will be treated as you treat others. The standard you use in judging is the standard by which you will be judged. Now, what really takes me in is the way this study Bible applies this to your life, because this is going to bless somebody. Is that Jesus tells us to examine our own motives and conduct instead of judging others. The trait that bother us in others are often the habits we have ourselves.
Come on.
So let's go ahead and deal with that. When you
Come
mad
on.
and this, well, how much of that is you? Because if we're gonna be real, she modeled the behavior. She became the mirror, right? He the mirror.
Yeah.
So I'm a model that.
Yeah.
And I followed right behind what had been following God.
Mm-hmm.
So now we look at it, and what did she do? She did the same thing he did. She said, "The snake, see me. I thought you didn't eat carrots and apples. How he tempted you with
Lord,
something
you stupid.
that you don't want?
I'm cracking
Tell me
up.
that you wanted though,
I'm
because
cracking up.
you should have told me you wanted it, but you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how you can't be tempted with something you don't like?
Yeah.
I don't like carrots, so you will never tempt me ever. Now you could tempt me with carrot souffle, but you
Right.
can't tempt me with no ranch dressing and carrots.
Right.
So clearly you wanted it.
Yep.
So when we come back and we thinking about how we're judging people, it says here, and our bad habits and behavior patterns are the very ones that we most want to change in others. Those are also the traits that we have too. So we want somebody else to do something we're not willing to do.
Want somebody to be something also that we're not allowing God to make us into.
Do you find it easy to magnify others' faults while excusing your own? And if you are ready to criticize someone, check to see if you deserve the same criticism. Judge yourself first and then lovingly forgive and help
Your neighbor. That's reconciliation.
Yeah.
That was word. So
Yeah.
our issue with this disappointment with God, oftentimes it's not even the disappointment with God, it's the disappointment with the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought this was gonna be it, and now that's not it. Now look, it's the outcome you mad at.
Yeah.
If we really want to get real. So I pray y'all get blessed by the service.
Listen,
Because that's
listen. You just
Eric
opened
is on the
something up.
floor.
Listen, we're gonna keep you there because this girl, we still baking. The fire is still being stoked.
I'm
So-
here.
So Lauren gave me this revelation. Do you remember the scripture talking about the dust in your eye when you have a plank or seeing the speck? Well,
Come on.
guess who we believe has the plank in his eye? We think God does.
Nah, y'all wrong for that.
Lauren. Do you listen? What the Spirit is exposing is bringing us into deeper intimacy with the Father. The conversations we're not having with God is the reason why we're not having conversations with people. Okay? What you said, what you believe, you can't, what you behold, you can't. So
what I've come to ask questions, if we say we're in relationship with God,
Yeah.
we're not curious enough about his experience. Hey, God, whenever I come, I realize I do most of the talking. Do you feel like you're heard in this relationship? Do you feel like you're seen in this relationship? Is this relationship only about my life and what you can do in my life and what you can give me in my life and how I'm looking at the catalog of the world and everything I point to? I'm just creating this list of what I think you should focus on of getting me in my life. Or, God, what does it look like for me to be concerned about your life? Our disappointment comes because we're not in mutuality with God. We're in individuality with God. And anytime we're in connection with someone and one person's in individuality instead of mutuality, it brings forth disappointment and resentment. So when we're actually talking to God, a question that I would impose all of us to start asking, God, do I actually have blame towards you? God, do I have resentment towards you because of choices that I made that I thought you would sustain for me? When I never even asked you what you thought about the choice. If you wanted to be the God in that choice. If you would even see enjoyment of me choosing that, because wherever I go, God, there you are. Do you want to do that with me? We're in relationship until we move into individuality. And then when individuality fails us, we want to try relationship again. That's why we're in constant disappointment with God. And so we're thinking, when we don't even notice, God has a plank. Ain't no way he's seeing this rightly, because this wasn't supposed to be, God, and I need you to fix it. And until you get this right, I'm going to harden my heart towards you.
Till you do right by me.
Until you do right by me. Until you see what I see. Until you see the vision I got, the dreams I got.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be as hard. You said that many are the plans you have to make me abundant and have all these things. Well, did you ever ask God what he meant by all those things? We don't have enough curiosity. God, when you look at a life, what do you see? When you see me as a unique person you made, how do you see me being loved? So funny, we write a list for love and we don't even really know what it is. If we failed at it a million times in our life, and if we grew up with so much trauma and don't really know what love is, why do you think God would tell you to write a list? That's really weird. I don't know why people hear, whenever people tell me that God told them that, I'm not saying you're not here, God, but it really weirds me out. I was like, God would trust you to write a list about love when you really don't know what it is?
Oh, don't write.
I don't see him doing that with Adam.
No.
I don't see him doing that with Jesus.
No.
Look, God is consistent in the scriptures.
Very.
And when I see him in a human body fulfilling what he is, and I don't see him doing something, it's really hard for me to understand how people are saying God said that. I can see God showing you a list, and God will take you to Galatians 5. And in Galatians 5, it says, for you cannot have faith without love. So anybody that you believe upon, I want a man or woman of God. Well, the only way that you can know that is to see how they love.
Correct.
But on our list, we don't write anything down about love. We only write it about provision.
Oh, and when you haven't been with love, you don't even know that you're. When you haven't been with love, you won't even know that you're experiencing it. Like
that you're even experiencing it.
You're
not aware of it.
Because what you're looking at is the behaviors of other people. You're looking at your historical setup. You're looking at how so-and-so used to treat you. You're looking at how your friend getting treated, and so then you start measuring yourself toward those things. It goes back to, what are you tracking? What are you tracking? Because if you're tracking, and then that also goes back to, let's even back further from that. It also goes back to what you're solving for. So a lot of times people are getting into these relationships and they're trying to solve for something. So your go-getters are oftentimes trying to solve from being broke again. Your people that's always they're so, if you're like, well, I'm consistent, I'm kind. That's not what they're even solving for. They're still
Mhm.
afraid that they're gonna be broke again. So
Mhm.
all
'Cause
that
of
stuff
fear.
you doing,
Is it
they
fear?
do not care. They are not tracking those. Those are not key performance indicators that they are tracking. And that's why you feel like I'm doing all of this and I'm still, but my return is being like spat at, right?
Mhm.
And it's because they're not tracking. So what we'll do with relationships, once we're disappointed with God and now we're going to turn over and try to do our own thing, then we start trying to solve for, let's not get hurt again. And so when
Mhm.
you try to solve for it, and we said this on the last episode, when you
Mhm.
try to use people as a pill, you don't realize it's going to heal that headache, but them kidneys about to go. It's
Yep.
not going to take care of the whole thing. There's
Mm.
only one person that can take care of the whole thing.
Come on, say his name, Lauren.
It's only one.
Say his
It's
name,
our
Lauren.
Father. Abba. What we shout out? Abba, Father. That's it. God. That is it. There's no one else. And so what we tend to do is then we get in a relationship with the person who solved our headache but still broke our leg. Well, I guess you'll leave that leg. But and now you're dead. Go back to that control. Again. It goes back to that control. And so when you haven't spent time with love, you won't even realize the aroma of it, because love has an aroma. You will not realize the aroma that you're smelling because you're so busy trying to solve for a hurt that only God can heal.
Only God can heal.
That's it.
When love shows up, Lauren, the first thing that it does is it exposes what is not love in you.
That mirror. What Matthew said. Oftentimes that you want people to change.
God, listen, if God has given us the blueprint of how to navigate relationships and how to
Yeah.
navigate our experiences in relationships. So
Yeah.
he says this clearly. Perfect love casts out fear.
Let
If we
patience have
desire
a
to be
perfect
loved
fruit.
with another person, when that
Come
love
on.
shows up, guess what it's going to expose? Fear in you.
Fear. Yeah.
But you know what we've done? We've let the world teach us how to have wisdom about what fear happens. And so we say fear is discernment. We say fear is a gut feeling. We say fear is instinctual. We say fear is my nervous system ain't right. We
Yeah.
say fear, I feel anxious around this person, right?
Yeah.
And we say, oh, these must be signs that I'm not supposed to be with that person. No, that's actually fear being exposed. And what it does is your body has been so enticed and so in intimacy with fear that when love shows up, fear is like, don't let him in, 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 no, don't let him in, don't let him in. I can't do this because every time I'm around you, I'm just so anxious. And we don't even go to God and be like, God, is this fear? And God would be like, yes, baby, that's fear. You are sensing and experiencing that fear has been so corrupted in your being that when you are around someone who's rested, fear exposes itself. And if you would just stay there long enough, you would be able to see the fear being casted out through the love that comes from me through a person. And you will start to realize how normal it is to be able to find yourself rested when love shows up.
So do your worst.
But I'll never
But I'll never do
do
mine. That's what love says.
That's
Do
what
your worst, but I'll never do mine. And even when I'm mad about you, mad with you, I'll always be more mad about you.
Yeah.
That's love. Baby, you done set that thing. Sit still and let that old fear come out. Just sit still.
Let it come out.
Let
But-
it come out.
And we want to project it on everybody.
Mm-mm.
We want to project it. And what's so sad about like what happens with like we're trying to build emotional maturity, which I think is really beautiful. Like I said, we have this cry as human beings. What does it mean to be human? And God's like, yes, okay. But they're not coming to him about what human is. So the
No.
world is like filling up their minds. Well, guess what that starts to create? You're going to have enmity and disappointment and resentment with God because you're trying to be fathered by two people. And the Bible says you could only have one bastard. So I have disappointment with God because God isn't the only person I'm let father me. I'm going to therapy and therapists more than I'm going to the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go, and I love Jillian Turecki. I love Esther Perel. These are all people
Oh,
who
yeah, we do.
I love
right.
listening to things that they share. But every
Mhm.
time I share it, I go to God and say, "What do you say about this?"
Yeah.
to see whose wisdom that they're operating from with each thing that they share. So what happens is we'd rather go study their books than study Psalm 139. If you read Psalm 139 and see what God believes about you, and see how God has always seen you, and see that God already knows everything about you before you could ever know yourself. He's the only person that will ever fully know you. And what he does with that knowledge is that the thoughts that I have of you far outnumber all. Wait a minute. You know everything there is to know about me, God. Some of the stuff I already know is already making my heart feel condemned already. You mean to tell me that the stuff that you know, the stuff that I hide, the stuff that I keep, the stuff that I don't want anybody else to know, the stuff that makes me feel shameful, the stuff that makes me feel unworthy, the stuff that makes me afraid for somebody ever to see and expose to them, you see that and your response is, I can't stop thinking about you? I promise you, there is no relationship book. There is no therapy that can provide that kind of love, that can persuade you to cast out all the fear that has haunted you your entire life. Therapy can't do that. It can expose it, but it can't heal it.
Okay, you got to let me go here and say this real quick.
Wow.
So let's go back to this site conversation.
Let's go.
Let's go back to this site.
We still got another episode to go after this.
I know, Jess, is too concealed with me.
No, go ahead. I'm here.
Just
I'm here. Let's go.
So we're talking about this site. That's how often do we reset our eyes and close them?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's something about what you put your eyes on.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer you stay watching it, the more it
Mhm.
starts infiltrating your life. It starts becoming a
Mhm.
part of your mind, your belief system. And think about it if they couldn't see the apple. If Adam and Eve couldn't see the apple, they wouldn't have been over there by the tree.
Mm-hmm.
But you had something you could see.
Mm-hmm.
And all you knew was a promise that was given. But there wasn't nothing you could see. You didn't know what it was going to do. You just knew you better not go over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does the enemy use? He uses our sight.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you fix your eyes on? Where your
Mhm.
focus goes, your energy flows.
Mm-hmm.
So when we start fixing our eyes on the disappointment, when we start fixing our eyes on the blame, when we start fixing our eyes, because honestly, our eyes are one of those things that we really take for granted. We don't we never think about resting our eyes unless we trying to lie and pretend we ain't sleep because we ain't listening.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time. Nobody's like, oh, I'm gonna go lay down and rest my eye. They thinking about their body.
Yeah.
But we're never resetting the eye
Mhm.
gates, and that's the windows to your soul.
That's the windows.
And so the enemy knows if he can just get your sight off of God,
Mm-hmm.
just your eyes off, is really all he needs to get you off.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're believing things that aren't there. And you said something so powerful, Jer, about us reading the books of others, but not the books of the Bible to see what God has said about us. Because if we see it, now there's an opportunity for you to believe it. But there's not an opportunity for you to believe it if you never even exposed yourself to
Not even
seeing it.
exposed to seeing it.
So we got to be careful with what we see.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do we allow what we see? What does the filter look like for what you see?
Mhm.
You said, I
Mhm.
go to God and say, God, this sounds really good scientifically. And I got some case studies. I love a case study. I love to see some polls and it's research.
Mm-hmm.
Research me down, baby. But
Mm-hmm.
God, what you think about that?
What do you think?
Because you got to have a way that you're filtering some of that stuff. I mean, we got to filter up to him. So why we don't have no filter here? So we got to, so the word and God, he's our filter and he'll tell you, yeah, Jerry, you should really believe that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
because the moment you believe it now, it's a part of your identity. Now you're going to be behaving that way.
Yeah.
And now we going to figure this. Now we in entanglements.
Listen, we in it. You better say that. That's fun. Hey, we are in entanglements.
Now
That's
we're
why
in
God
entanglements.
That's why God called us a prostitute, because we have entanglements. And it was so beautiful is God still marries us, even as the prostitute.
I call it HOE, handing out everything.
Okay, Lauren. I just want to let y'all know Lauren's starting 2026 off with a bang. 'Cause the last thing we did together, I was like, "Oh, you different? Okay, let's go."
I love it.
Not you different.
Yeah, you different. I love it. Bring the energy.
Man, this has been good. I'm
Listen,
complete.
that thing there is so good because it's like what you said about entanglements. It's really hard to be in an enjoyment with a relationship where there's no disappointment when you are committed to other people while you're with this
Mm.
person.
Say that part again.
It's really hard to be in
Mhm.
enjoyment with relationship with God or with anyone else when we are in other relationships while we say we're committed to this person. And what I
Mm.
mean by other relationships is when we're committed to God, but we're believing what the world believes, then we've added someone else to the relationship. Because the Bible says that the enemy is the father of this world. So he's the only one that's spewing. He's the only one that's creating the wisdom of this world. So you're getting it from another person while you're saying you're fully committed to this person. You bear the name Christian, the name of the person you say you're with. It's like you got married to someone and then you took their name, Christ, and called yourself Christian, but you still believe what the world believes. You're still tied to politics and God has no affiliation with it. You're still tied to what we should do with all these things in our country. And God's like, well, I have a kingdom when all those things are resolved. We are in relationship with the world and want God to be in it, and he's not. And we have disappointment. So we're in entanglements because we want to be in the world, and then we want to change the world, and God's not trying to change the world. God's actually going to destroy it.
Mhm.
And the one thing that he wants to keep in the world is the people, but get rid of all of its infrastructure and the planet itself because it has death in it.
Yeah.
And that's why he says, I wish no man shall perish. He didn't say anything about politics. He didn't say anything about systems. He didn't say anything about governments. He didn't say anything about nations. He didn't say anything about that. But we are more tied to identifying with those things than we are tied to identify with what God identifies with, and wonder why we're in entanglement and then disappointment. And then because we have that disappointment with him, we have disappointment with other people because they're not in the entanglement with us.
How dare you not be in danger? How dare you?
That goes back to the previous episode. I have emotional boundaries. When I see you are in entanglement with things that God ain't entangled with, I say this is as far as I could go. I can't operate in that. That's not what Jesus said. I only do what I see the Father doing.
Yeah.
I don't do what I see the world doing.
So when they say I wouldn't do that, that's exactly the thing you should choose to do.
That's the boundary in my life. If I don't see the Father doing it, I don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't care what Christians say. I don't care what the church say. I look to the head, who is Jesus. I don't look to the hand. I don't look to the ankle. And what's wrong with us? We got disappointment in God because even in the body of Christ, we're depending on the knee to tell us about God instead of the head himself. We're more dependent on the actual arm of God instead of the actual face of God.
And some of us want his hand and not his heart. But you know, that's in I will see y'all the episode.
Okay. Let's move to the third one. This is gonna be a 2-hour live. This is gonna be a 2-hour live. This is crazy. This is like the best, but this is the best way to bring in the new year, though. There's like no other way to do it.
Don't you love it?
Yeah, this is great. Okay,
so come on, Jen.
listen. This is so exciting. So, what our last episode? Do you remember what it was?
It was the intimacy you want versus the intimacy you really give. Lord.
I'll let you start on that one.
I started that. You come let me start. Let me start because I was cooking earlier and listening to it again for like the fourth time. And you said something so powerful in there about intimacy and our understanding of intimacy and our understanding of what it really means to be into me and see me, and how oftentimes we can't see the forest for the trees. That Jerry said like that, y'all know my country tell did.
Mm.
You can't say something. Look, I'm gonna do Jared. That's what mama say.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't see the forest for the trees. But that goes back to, again, that sight too, right? And so when we're in intimacy, sometimes we think that what we're wanting, we're comparing it to what we're getting, and then we're saying we're not getting because it
Mhm.
doesn't match.
Right.
But we're not communicating.
Yeah.
We're not having moments where we're expressing. We're not
Mhm.
being honest. And even God said the only way to worship me is in spirit and in truth.
In spirit and in truth.
That's the only way that I know that when you worship, that is really for real, because you're not hiding from me, right? We're not putting fig leaves on again.
Yeah. Come on.
So why is it that in our relationships we still have fig leaves? We're still trying to protect things that's gonna die anyway.
That's gonna die anyways. That's a word, child.
That was my biggest takeaways that I thought of top of my brain. That was like really, really good. I know I got more, but
Man, the intimacy we can't give is because we don't know what intimacy is. It's hard to give something you don't understand. It's hard to give something that you don't know what it is. If I am not experiencing intimacy with God, to whereas I can experience intimacy with the person, I would say that I am never going to be a safe person in intimacy with anyone. And the reason why I say that, and it sounds really extreme and harsh, because people, you cannot predict what they're going to become tomorrow or any season that comes.
Nope.
They just change without notice. If I have developed an idea of what intimacy is that is built on a construct or infrastructure where you have to be in this frame of a person in order to be intimate with me, then you're never going to be able to safely allow somebody to go through all of the phases of metamorphosis to allow intimacy to always be present. And so people say, well, if you give me this, then that'll make me feel safe. Well, what happens if a season I don't give you that? Is there another way that we can be intimate if I no longer want to give that because that no longer serves me as the person that I am anymore? What if what I look at love changes? What if the way that we always operated feels old to me and I want to create a new way to operate in love? What if closeness doesn't feel like closeness in this season as it did in the last one?
Yeah.
What if the way that I'm vulnerable with you looks different? What if the language changes? What if I withhold more, not because I don't want to talk to you, but because I actually want to talk more to God than to you? What happens if I get a community and then all of a sudden friends that I've always wanted in my life, I'm now more sharing with them and having more connection with them in areas that I used to always give you? Will you resent me because it doesn't stay? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Is it under your conditions?
And so if intimacy is conditional, it can't be intimacy.
No, it's enslavement.
And that's what we talked about. People have created imprisonment called intimacy. And unless you stay under my conditions, then I will be intimate with you.
Correct.
But the moment you start to change and the conditions can no longer be met, then I'm no longer holding space for what you're forming into or what you're challenging or what you're growing out of or what you're maturing into or what you're dying to or what you're arising in or what you're becoming or what you're unbecoming. This is a human being. And somehow we think human beings should be defined according to what we think they should be in the hidden spaces where we're afraid to let ourselves become it ourselves. And so if we're not experiencing curiosity with ourselves and with God, then we're never going to allow curiosity with the space with another person. And intimacy is all around curiosity.
Yeah.
God knows. Listen, God already knows. He's omnipresent. He's omnipotent. He knows all things, right? He's providential. He has all knowledge. He knew that they hid.
Correct.
But he was so intimate with them that he still asked the question.
You know what?
He knew they didn't know who he was when he says, "Who do you say I am?" He knew that they didn't know, but he still asked the question.
Every time that you see Jesus teaching in parables, he still asks the questions.
Because he was going to let the heart reveal. See, when you don't ask the question, then the heart can't be revealed. And so he really, because he looks at the heart of man and out of the mouth, the heart. So let's just go there. So he needed to understand, to let's hear it. And not really, he ain't need to hear, he needed them to hear it.
Come on.
Because he already knew, right? So when we don't ask, then oftentimes the heart stays hidden.
Yep. Come on.
And what it really believes stays hidden. Because if we really want to get down to the truth was if what Adam and Eve was sold, if it was actually if that product actually worked, then they would have been what?
Yep.
More powerful, right? Because that was the gimmick. That was the sale. That was the pitch.
Yeah.
And he had, impeccable marketing.
Yeah.
You buy the one tree they not supposed to be by. Now these other 50 trees, you ain't slithering and walking or anything. So he had great marketing. It's like Walmart when you go to check out at the end, that candy right there. You defeated death in the bag. But go to check out. Now you got one, it gets you right where you got to make the final decision.
Yeah.
The final decision. And so he was waiting for them to be honest because the only way to worship him is in spirit and in truth. So if you say that you love me, then hiding from me can't be love.
It can't be love.
And so when I asked you the question, I didn't have to tell you the answer because I knew the answer. Some of us, we want to tell people the answer because we want people to know how smart we are. God don't ever trying to let you know. He already know that. He's trying to figure out, has your heart identified the real reason you chose? We're going to get real. Because you can't be intimate with people you lie to. And that includes you. Because some of us be lying to ourselves. We be very delusional.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have light, you can't see. And the only person who can give you light to truly see yourself as you are is God, because you were made from his image and likeness. So what you're speaking is so profound. And it's like, I was sitting here thinking while you were talking, and I was realizing that I was like, oh man, God, like, here's a really good question to introduce to people. Will you give me the space and exploration to discover a language to be intimate with you in when I don't have one to give?
Can you get out of my journal time? It feels very intimate. Because it's the language that connects, because it's communication. And communication can do one or two things: connect or disconnect. Life or death. And some of us, I think, get so accustomed to the language that we've always known that we don't even get curious about, like, what other languages are out there? Like what else have I not tapped into?
And what language is another person speaking? And how can I come to understand and interpret their language? Will you give me the space and exploration to learn your language? See, compatibility and chemistry have robbed us of being able to hold space to learn someone else's language. I don't know you, you don't know me. Just because we have commonality doesn't mean you know my language. Just because we like to do the same things doesn't mean you know my language. When things happen to me, a language is born. Well, just because something happened to you doesn't mean we speak the same language about it. So how can we demand an intimacy that we want while lacking the intimacy that we can give because we don't even know our own language? And when we've allowed pain to be the interpreter, when we've allowed fear to be the interpreter, then the language that is taught to us through that interpretation is a language that love rejects. Love doesn't speak in the language of pain.
No.
Love doesn't speak in the language of fear. Love doesn't speak in the language of this is what happened to me, so this is why I am. Love speaks in the language of, well, I happened to you.
Mm.
So which one will you allow to interpret your life experience? That I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb,
Child.
or what you came to know after you came out of it?
Where do you stand? Who's on the Lord's side? Where do you stand? Man, I had to fuck last night because what? You want to talk about some intimacy? That's some intimacy. Seriously, that's real intimacy. And it also that ties to maintaining. I was having a conversation this past week with a girlfriend, and we were catching up, and she was telling me about this guy, and he said to her, "Well, I meet boss women all the time." I said, "Oh, that's great. How many of those relationships have you maintained?" We meet a lot of stuff. What you maintain? How long have you sat there? Have you sat there until you got it right? Until you learned? And that's what we do. Even like what you said about this morning with God. When I got in my closet this morning with God, I sat there for a good while and I said nothing. Nothing. Because I'm like, I just want to understand. Like, I don't even want to talk. I'm just in here for us to sit and have our time. Because this is where we learn how to maintain, is when we let him teach us. This is when we start getting curious about the things that, like, when we're moving around, we can't think about. And be able to come to him with questions that are deeper than the shallow requests we always have. Sometimes our requests are way too shallow. And he's like, well, the past week, you've only had shallow requests. But today you coming with something deeper.
Listen, sometimes God is like, tell me more. Not for him to understand, but to bring you into a practice and normalcy of going deeper within yourself with him.
But isn't that where you would say he explores our heart?
Yeah.
With us?
Yeah, of course. He's the only one that can truly examine it, because we can examine it with condemnation, and that's not proper examining. And in him, there is no condemnation. So when he looks at the heart, he doesn't condemn anything. He doesn't find you guilty of anything. He sees innocence. And so he brings forth understanding, knowing that that was never intended to happen.
And he'll see innocence until you stop believing you're guilty.
Yeah. And that is one of the most pivotal parts of intimacy, is seeing through the eyes and heart of innocence. But when pain and fear fathers us, everyone's guilty, even ourselves. And even God is.
That's why we're disappointed.
Goes back to all the previous stuff that we've been talking about, and all the lines, huh? Yeah, it's important. So we have to go back to foundation. Y'all know I'm all about foundation, because whatever the seed is what everything else will be expressed from. And we can talk about symptoms and topical stuff all day, but what I love about this podcast that God has born through Lauren and I is that, like, God is always getting us to the root. And so when we talk about these things, we can talk about your experiences, we can talk about what happened to you, but let's actually get to the root of it. And if that seed that is in your heart that has labored so much pain and suffering for you, that God never intended to be seated in you, then let's go put an axe to that root, so God can put his seed in you, the incorruptible seed of Jesus, a seed that brings forth love and joy and peace that the world can't give you and the world can't take it away. And when we are able to be seated with that love that comes from only God, then we're now longing for intimacy that we realize has already been achieved in him. So now we're abiding. Now, as I see him, I'm like, God, you're my possession. And God's like, you're my possession. And God's like, I'm submitted to you. And you're like, no, God, I'm submitted to you. You're like, no, but I'm submitted to you. And then we're like, God, I just want to serve you. God's like, no, I want to serve you. And then we realize we're just having this mirror reflection that the reason why we have desires to speak these things is because it all comes from him speaking it to us first. It's not out of labor. You can't labor intimacy. You can't work for intimacy. You can't self-work intimacy. I hear that term all the time and it like grinds my gears. I hate do the work. It's so gross to me. Because I look at the scriptures and I don't see that. And I know that the world has coined it. And people love like, I'm going to do the work and I'm going to do it. I was like, listen, baby, I don't care what stuff you read. I don't care what you study. You could be meditating. You could be moving your body. You could be working out. You could get all the macros. You could get all the stuff all you want. You're still in a dead body.
Yeah.
And as long as you're in a dead body with no resurrection life in it, all those things are meaningless. They're just earthly values. And what it is an earthly treasure. And God said, don't store it.
But I also think to that point that it's more about just being present.
Yeah.
You know
what does it mean
like,
to be present though, Lauren?
So what it means to be present is to be fully engaged in the moment in which you're in, undistracted, right? This undistracted moment of just being fully where you are, because we're so easily distracted. And every day that we have these devices, these phones, these iPads, these things, they are eating away at our ability to stay focused. That's why it's hard for people to shut their brains off. And so intimacy comes in stillness. So oftentimes most people are not still long enough to even enjoy intimacy. Because you know, the water, you don't see fish when you floating on your back on top of the water. You see fish when you dive deeper into the water. You're not walking up on the ocean seeing fish. If you are, they're dead and they're coming towards you. There's no life in them. Right? And so if they're living, they're in the low. That means you have to go deeper to see them. It doesn't mean that they're not there. It just means you haven't arrived. So oftentimes what my heart hears when people are saying doing the work, sometimes my heart hears people say it and it sounds like they're still trying to be in control. Sometimes my heart hears people say it and it sounds like to me they're already identifying what needs to be let go of in order for them to take hold of, because he's not going to argue with your belief. Either you believe me or you don't.
Right.
There's no other way. And like you said earlier, we can't be Christian and be and him be our only father, but still be fathered by the world. Right. So a lot of times what the work looks like, I think maybe we need a different word for the work. Maybe it's just surrender, but it's not really true work like we think, like punching clock. It's more so like letting go, and that comes with stillness, and that also comes with taking inventory, which comes in the moments of stillness. You can't take inventory and be on the move, so because you can't account for it that fast, right? So you have to have that time. And so I think really people are at that point where they're trying to figure it out, but they ain't really got to try. It's like, okay, well, just be, because this is the thing about the work. God said, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Now, some of us, we can't sit still. So if you can't be still, how you gonna know? Right? So we can sometimes be accustomed to that. So I think that it goes back to us being curious enough to ask people when they say they're doing the work, what does that look like? Give me the vision on that. Like, what does that visually look like? Because again, God asked the question. He knew what Adam and Eve had done. He felt the shift. He wasn't crazy, but he still asked the question. And so when people say that they're doing the work, I'm often saying like, oh, that sounds really great. What does that look like for you?
That's a great question. You took the words right out of my mouth. What does that look like? I get curious.
Yeah, what does that
Oh,
look like? Because
oh,
I'm a
no,
visual. I visualize everything people say. So I'm a visual.
yeah.
And so I want to know what it looks like for them in order to understand them, because it's never about being right about them. It's about being right with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Being right with people, and this also stays within the conversation and framework of the intimacy that we want to receive, but the intimacy we don't know how to give. Well, I
Mhm.
would say the intimacy starts with being able to die to our own self-ability, and
Mhm.
then trusting God to be the able one on our behalf. So I love what you said about being able to redefine what it means to do the work. And like you said, it's letting go. I'm letting God. Well, what am I letting God do? I'm letting him love me.
Let him be God. Let him be.
But most people don't know what that means. Most
Yeah.
people think that when people define their faith, which is no such thing as their faith,
Mhm.
it's God's faith.
Correct.
But most people define the relationship is their love for him. I'm like, I don't see that.
Mhm.
It literally says in 1 John chapter 4 that it's not your love for me, but I first loved you.
Correct.
So to walk into a form of intimacy where we can redefine what self-work looks like is when I go into a space of like, and I'm saying, man, God is really doing a work in me. All it means is I'm beholding of him and I'm seeing him and he's revealing himself to me and he's persuaded me of how good he is, how loving he is, how safe he is, how much he never runs out of strength of being able to uphold and care for my life, how his provision is endless and he never gets tired of taking care of me. God is never defining me as a masculine man by the way that I steward things. And God is never defining me as a masculine man by how much I can carry without breaking. And God is never defining me as a masculine man by how much I lay myself down for others. God is looking at me and defining my masculinity of how much I let him be God to me, because that is what defines Jeremy as what he designed me to be. And I'm constantly in that, and I'm constantly listening and being provoked by that and
Yeah.
letting that rub up against everything that goes against that in me. And every time a trigger comes up, I'm like, God, what do you say about this trigger? And every time I'm feeling things or every time I'm not feeling things, well, God, what didn't I cry about that? Am I in a blocked state? He's like, no, Jerry, you're not in a blocked state. I just witnessed my daughter have an emotional meltdown over something that was so hard for her. And I should have bawled in that moment. And I didn't condemn myself. I was like,
Mhm.
God, why didn't I cry? I hated seeing my little girl break. He says, because Jared, the thing that she's broken over, I've already claimed victory over your life. So
Yeah.
you know that there's going to be victory found because you're already the proof of the thing that she's going to be able to overcome. So what do you need to cry for? Just because someone is grieving and you can't meet them where they are emotionally doesn't mean you're emotionally unavailable. Thank you, God,
No.
for revealing that to me.
No,
I
that's
didn't know that in
absolutely
the
not.
moment. I was like, man, I should be bawling right now. I'm hugging my baby, I'm carrying her, and I'm wiping her tears, and I'm like, look at me, and I'm like being, I'm trying to
But you're
crack jokes
doing
around
but you're doing what the Father does,
what the
Jed.
Father does, right?
You're
But
doing what the Father does.
which is so beautiful, but there's still this humanity in me where I don't cry a lot in like life's hardest moments because
Oh, yeah,
I had to understand. I was like, God, why am I not a crier? And he was like, Jared, you have seen me overcome everything that has ever happened to you. Your heart is so persuaded
Come
by
on.
my ability
Come
to
on.
overcome all things that when it's time to overcome something, your emotions are already convinced that they already know they're not leading it.
Because your mind reminded you when you cried, did you die?
Right, right, right. And because that is the thing that stabilizes my humanity is
Correct.
the reason why in certain moments I don't feel a weakness. But
Correct.
here's the thing, Lauren, when I'm around other people who are constantly weakened by those things, and that's not a bad thing to be that. I
Absolutely
I
not.
I often have to go to God to make sure is everything okay in me. And I think that is
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
because I always want to make sure that my humanity is always in a space where it's able to be human.
So
Right,
so
and so
we gotta say this. I can't forget this. Sometimes people don't need you to cry with them. They just need you not to leave.
yeah. Oh, that's good.
That's really that's the one right. That's the one right there. They don't need you to leave.
That's good.
They don't
That's
need you to
good.
cry. The
That's
cry
really
is
good.
for my release,
Yeah.
not yours.
Yeah, that's good.
I just don't need you to leave because the thing that I'm crying about probably is crying over something that has left or that
Yeah.
I think is going to
To
leave.
leave.
But
Yeah.
imagine if the Father don't leave me,
That's so
I'm
good.
free to
You're
cry.
cooking. You're cooking right now.
I'm free to cry because
That's
the
so good.
Father isn't leaving me. So what you did to her was you did the thing that the word says, that they will know that you are a Christian by the way that you love. They will
Yeah.
know that you are really in a relationship with God by the way that you love.
Mhm.
And so you loved her like he loves her.
Mhm.
He said, suffer little children, come unto me and I'll give you rest. He didn't say, I'm gonna cry when you come. He said, suffer, I'm
Mhm.
gonna give you rest. I'm gonna give
Mhm.
you release.
Mhm.
And it's the same thing that you did in that moment. I'm the very same way. I don't cry very often at all. And which I think is hilarious. This morning when I went in the closet, Alex said to me, please don't be in there crying, Mom. Because the
Mhm.
place I do cry is
It's in the closet.
always in worship.
Oh, I love that.
And so because I am not I'm not at the funeral. I've never did. I can be with people. Oftentimes in a lot of my sessions, people cry, men cry, women cry. I just sit there. You know why?
Mhm.
Because they just don't need me to leave.
Mhm.
They just need to know that when they dry their eyes, I'm still going to see them the way God does.
Mhm.
I'm still going to mirror that reflection for them to see themselves right. And I'm going to do it the way he does it because all he did was be the role model for us to model behind.
Mhm. Mhm.
So oftentimes what we don't realize is when we're in relationship is what role model are you modeling?
Mhm.
What role model are you modeling? So we don't need you to fix it. We just don't need you to leave. And
Mhm.
that's what walking with people looks like.
Mhm.
And oftentimes too, Brene Brown talks about this in one of her books, but she said oftentimes we will try to feel like guilty that we're not feeling what people feel, or we will feel like we need to have a similar story to like the story that they're telling themselves so they don't feel alone.
Mhm.
Because we almost don't know how to process what we're supposed to be doing when you doing what you doing. Like you're doing that. I don't know what to do. So what we do, because we don't want them to feel alone, is we try to give them, hey, I've been there too. They don't care. They just want to know you ain't about to go nowhere. Like that's it. That's all they want. They just want you to sit in the moment. And so when I read that, I was like, you know what? You ain't lying. That's what we doing. And I'd be like, please cry. That's normal. That's human. Because oftentimes we treat ourselves like superheroes for so long, saving the world and others, that we forget what it feels like to be human. So I enjoy like allowing people the space to not apologize. That's one of my things. If you don't apologize when you smile, don't apologize when you cry. I can't stand that. Like, I'm so sorry I'm crying. Why you say that about laughing? I'm so sorry I'm laughing. Like, why you say that about smiling? I'm
Isn't
so
that
sorry.
crazy? That's actually really powerful insight, Lauren. That's wow. If we never apologize for any other expression of emotion, then why do we apologize when we cry? That ought to let you know how much we have not been allowed to be able to access it around others.
And so I allow it freely, and I definitely allow it freely a lot. And I love what you do with Ava. You're so amazing. Like, baby, y'all see me 3 meals so I can go in and try to recreate Jer and the way he be doing stuff. You're such an amazing father to her, and the way that you show up for her, it's beautiful. I don't allow my boys to not cry. I'd be like, no, let's cry. Let's get it all out.
Yeah.
All of it out. All of it out. Because I want them to be comfortable crying in the arms of a woman that can love them. So
That's
when they
powerful.
cry in front of you, they already know. They already okay with crying.
That's powerful.
Because they're welcomed to cry. And I don't make it a thing like, oh, stop that crying. No, we're not doing that. The devil is a lie. No, we're going to cry. And we're going to cry as long as you need to cry about it. because that's one of the things that we do. We mute people. We silence. I said this months ago, but I've said when we silence our boys, we mute them as a man. So when you're like, why he don't talk? Because he's not accustomed to talking. He ain't talked in 30 years in real life, because he's always silenced every time he tries to say something. So I don't allow that at all, because it's important, because that's going to be the behavior that they model over and over and over again for years to come. And I want them to feel safe in their bodies and in their feelings and in their emotions, and to be able to process it in a way that honors God and doesn't dishonor their self-worth.
The intimacy you don't have, but the intimacy you want to receive.
Ain't right. Jada took me at the ground.
Sorry guys, this live went so long. We had a lot to catch up on. We really missed y'all.
Y'all catch up in spurts. I mean, y'all be up there watching y'all be watching seasons of Stranger Things in 3 days. Like me.
Man, I'm about to rewatch it again. You already know how I do. I've been watching all the interviews. Anyways, we ain't here to talk about Stranger Things. I love y'all. I love it. You know what's so funny? Whenever I get on the phone, I do this thing. I don't know why I start doing this. I need to stop doing it. It's a weird hand gesture. It's giving, what is that? It's giving, are you sure, Chair? And I promise you everything's okay over here. Not that, anyways. I do funny stuff all the time, and I feel like because I used to be an improv actor, I can like tap into different characters. I'll be like, Jared, don't do that. I'll be catching myself on the camera. So if you see me do it, text me and be like, stop.
Well, but I'll be enjoying it because I'll be feeling like you're in the fullness of who you are.
I am. I'm being funny.
I really enjoy it. Quite honestly, so you'll never get that text. I don't apologize.
I saw it on your video when you were like, I say it all the time, you can't control God. I was like, stop doing that shit.
Listen, if y'all can't tell me missed out, I don't know what
I'll be
to
acting I need to get
Jeremy acted up, but we love him for it. Act all the way up.
I love you.
I pray that this bless y'all. Check out the episode.
Yeah, this is long.
And baby, we coming back whatever day Jen said I was coming back again. And and that's all we got. That's it. That's all. We love y'all on purpose. Peace. All right, I'm ending the live on Instagram.
Okay. Oh, I gotta go and do mine.